This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch the show. Here's what we have coming up. I love Colin Cowherd. He is my broadcasting idol. I listen to his show every single day. It doesn't mean that we can't disagree. And we don't disagree enough in today's society while having some constructive and open-minded conversations. So coming up here on the show, I'm going to explain why Colin Cowherd is wrong in his assessment of Brock Purdy. Because last week he said he'd take Bo Nix over Purdy, he'd rather have Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy, and a whole list of other quarterbacks ahead of Brock Purdy. Where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong, and where Chase was right. That's coming your way. Let's start off with today's poll question. Pick a broadcaster. Type CC, type CS, Colin Cowherd, battling it out with Chase Sr. Have some fun with it down in the comment section right now. So Colin Cowherd did his Herd's quarterback hierarchy. And even after the 49ers beat the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, Cowherd still had Purdy too low on his quarterback rankings. Here are all of the quarterbacks that Cowherd said he would take ahead of Brock Purdy. Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love. Brock Purdy has beat all three of these quarterbacks, by the way. C.J. Stroud coming in at number 4. Jaden Daniels, a rookie for the Washington Commanders. Bo Nix. Trevor Lawrence, who is off to a terrible start this year and hasn't been good his whole career. It's all on the hype of what he did at Clemson, but the hype hasn't translated. Caleb Williams, another rookie. Kirk Cousins. Baker Mayfield. And Kyler Murray. That's a long list of quarterbacks that Cowherd would take ahead of Brock Purdy. And I think that when you have these types of conversations, so many people doubt Brock Purdy because it's a case of draftism. People doubt him. People come up with any type of argument to go against Brock Purdy, and they continue to move the goalposts partially because of where he was drafted. And it's where he was drafted on top of him not looking physically dominant. He's not huge in stature. He doesn't have a monster arm. But this conversation would be totally different if Brock Purdy wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. Because if Purdy was drafted earlier in the first, second, even the third round, he would be the talk of the league. What he's done to start his career has been incredible. He's been to back-to-back NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. He was top 5 in MVP voting his first year as a starter. I think right now he's playing the best ball of his career because he's turning garbage into gold and maximizing and elevating the teammates around him. He's 20-7 in his career, and he's 4-2 in the playoffs. And already in 2 seasons, Brock Purdy has more playoff wins than Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and he's tied with Matthew Stafford. And don't you dare tell me that quarterback wins don't matter. We literally judge quarterbacks and their greatness by Super Bowl championships. And Brock Purdy in 2024 is once again an MVP candidate. And he's had to deal with injuries around him. He didn't have Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams all summer. His defense and special teams units, they've let him down. Yet Brock Purdy continues to thrive. He's number 1 in pressure completion percentage. He's dead last in wide receiver target separation. He's number 2 in passing yards, number 2 in air yards, number 2 in air yards per attempt, number 2 in yards per attempt, number 5 in QBR, number 6 in deep ball completion rate, number 7 in true passer rating. Folks, Brock Purdy is the real deal. Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. All quarterbacks will have bad games from time to time, but it doesn't mean that they stink. And this year, Brock Purdy has been right on par with some of the other great quarterbacks in the National Football League. And the Niners are certainly lucky to have him. Before we continue to move forward on today's show, be sure to hit that subscribe button for daily shows on the Niners right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Anytime I'm in front of a camera, on a microphone, I aim to give you Niners coverage that is insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking, that involves you because I want you to have a voice. More to get to, but first, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, for making today's Niners Report possible. This is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And right now, you can play $5 and get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. What I also love about the Prize Picks app, number 1, it's a community. Number 2, they always give you great specials. For instance, Anthony Edwards, basketball opening night. 1 point equals 1 win. All he has to do is hit a free throw or a bucket. He's going to be able to do that. He's a stud among all basketball players. So pick more, pick less, pick Prize Picks, and run your game with Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's San Francisco 49ers report. Don't forget to download the app and use that code. So what's crazy about this Colin Cowherd conversation about Brock Purdy is that he said on the Herd on Fox Sports Radio that he would take Bo Nix over Brock Purdy. That is blasphemous, as Stephen A. Smith would say. Blasphemous, as Stephen A. Smith would say. And here's a direct quote from Cowherd on the whole Purdy-Nix argument. He's a more accurate thrower collegiately. I think Bo Nix is better. By the way, he's starting to settle in. He didn't inherit all these weapons, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and all these wonderful toys to play with. He's basically got Courtland Sutton and cross your fingers. Bo Nix is on a heater. And again, C.J. Stroud, Bo Nix, they have the responsibility to rebuild a team. They don't get the luxury seating from day one. And it's funny because Cowherd said that, and then Bo Nix went out there against the Chargers last week and laid an egg. He had like a negative quarterback rating in the first half. And in that game, he was 19 of 33 for 216 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And this year, when Cowherd said he's more accurate than Brock Purdy, Bo Nix, who did complete nearly 80% of his passes last year at Oregon, is completing 61.1% of his throws. As for Dak over Purdy, Cowherd had to eat the crow again because the Cowboys go out, they play the Detroit Lions on Jerry Jones' 82nd birthday. They got embarrassed, and Dak Prescott was horrible in that game, and Brock Purdy balled and cooked against the Seahawks. Purdy has more playoff wins than Dak already, and this is his second full season as a starter. And he's 2-0 against Dak in his career, including a playoff win as a rookie. Just because Brock Purdy is a limited athlete or because he was drafted late does not mean that he's not elite. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round, and some of the elite things that he does as a quarterback, timing, accuracy, precision, processing, helping to lead the team. Those are some of the same qualities that Brock Purdy has as well. So I just don't understand what people are saying and the arguments they come up with when they try to take away from what Purdy has done. He's one of the more elite quarterbacks in this league. Just because he's smaller, just because he was drafted late, just because he has Kyle Shanahan and weapons around him, doesn't mean that you can't give him his flowers. Kyle Shanahan, one of the top offensive minds in the sport, no doubt about it. But Brock Purdy has also made Kyle Shanahan's system better. Last year, when Brock Purdy was one of the top long ball throwers in the NFL, when he was number 1 in yards per attempt, we finally got to see what the Shanahan offense looks like with the quarterback who is capable of pushing the ball downfield and stretching the defense vertically. The difference in what our eyes show us between Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy is so vast. Jimmy Garoppolo's an average to bad quarterback, and the leap from him to Purdy has been so noticeable. And yes, Brock Purdy does have some good complementary weapons around him. Are we going to act like quarterbacks haven't had great weapons around them? Kurt Warner had Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and Marshall Faulk. Peyton Manning had Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and Edgerrin James. To start his career, Patrick Mahomes had Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Andy Reid. He still has Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. So some of these great quarterbacks have great weapons. It's almost like quarterbacks need really good weapons in order to be successful. Be sure to hit that subscribe button here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Also, be sure to give me a follow on social media. I put out a lot of short-form clips in addition to the long-form clips that you see on this show. It's at Chase_Senior on X and Instagram.